such a toxic environment nowadays. We're exposed to up to 80,000 chemicals and toxins, on a regular basis.
Now, is that in the air, or is it?
Yeah.
Is it just
mostly it's
cars,
in our food, in our water, in our food supply. Everything's so like processed and GMO'd, genetically modified. 20 years ago, even when I was growing up, you never heard of people having gluten sensitivity. Now everybody's gluten this.
I never heard
that.
The word gluten until about 5 years ago.
And a part of it is the product of agricultural. They hybridize these wheat products, to have a quicker onset for, to harvest and everything.
Grow faster and bigger and more growing seasons.
But what that does is it increases the gluten content by 4 times what it normally is.
Now, gluten, as I understand it, very little, is that it's what's in food that makes it taste good.
Yeah, gluten it's actually a protein that's most grains, especially wheat.
It doesn't really have a flavor, but it has a texture to it.
And our bodies just weren't, metabolized or, genetically made to process too much of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that's a product of agriculture, But, one of the things that I want to talk about that a lot of people don't realize is there's a nutrient or a molecule that helps us stay healthy and prevent disease. It prevents diseases like autism, cancer, Alzheimer's, autoimmune disease, which, and low immune system, getting you more prone to like the coronavirus, heart disease. It does everything.
Now
it's the mother of all.
Before you say what that is, let's reestablish your bona fides, because this is your thing.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
are a specialist in this area of medicine.
Yeah, it's called functional medicine. We try to find the root cause of disease, not just the treating the symptoms. We look at the whole system, and usually there's an underlying cause for most diseases. Instead of going, regular medical therapy, you go to a specialist, but that specialist only deals with that one
cure
particular
the symptom.
But you want to look at the whole thing. What's underneath the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is what we're kind of treating right now. We need to treat what's underneath.
You're a wellness doctor on top of that, and you want, and everybody's different. So when you meet with a patient, one modality may not be the exact same for the next person.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like right now, the biggest thing is genetic testing. There's ways that we can, test for genetic variations or mutations, even to the point that they call it epigenetics. Like you're not born with these mutations, but things that we do to our bodies changes our DNA makeup and causes us more prone to different types of diseases, And so that's something that we can now test, which that wasn't available to us not even like 10 years ago.
Which is why you see some women having mastectomies, because they test for like a genetic marker.
Absolutely.
That shows they have a great chance of getting breast cancer and dying from it.
Exactly. And it could be a two-edged sword. You have to kind of look at it from both ways. You don't want to just test for it and then all of a sudden a patient gets a bilateral mastectomy when they may have not needed it,
Right.
So you got to be careful with it.
It's a pretty radical procedure to prevent that, but I'm just using an extreme example of genetic testing.
So going back to that molecule that I want to discuss about.
This is a molecule that does what?
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, there's over 76,000 articles written about it. Yet most doctors aren't really talking about it. And again, it's the Master Detoxifier. It's like what really improves your immune system. And the big name for the day is it's glutathione.
Glutathione?
Yeah, glutathione. Glutathione. And the good news about it is that our body makes this stuff, but the bad news is it gets depleted because it gets overwhelmed with having to process bad things in our body, like pollution, stress, medications, poor diet, nutrient deficiencies, aging, infections. So it gets bombarded, and it gets overwhelmed, and so that puts us susceptible to all kinds of cellular degeneration and what we call oxidative stress. Now, oxidative stress is one of the biggest causes for chronic fatigue and, cancer and just a lot of diseases. And what oxidative stress is, my best example is whenever you bite an apple and you leave it out, if you don't put vitamin C, or some people like they put vitamin C, they squeeze something that's an antioxidant.
It'll turn brown.
It will turn brown. It oxidizes.
So if you put I never knew that. If you put vitamin C on it, it will not.
Oh yeah, that was an old trick. Or they do that a lot with avocado. Avocado too. If you don't throw lime in it, guess what? It turns brown, or black, your avocado.
I've always put saran wrap on it and left the seed in it. But usually I eat the whole avocado.
Absolutely.
Because it tastes so good.
So again, this all puts us at risk for cancer and it just becomes, your liver becomes overloaded with these toxins, and when your glutathione gets low, because glutathione helps your liver get rid of these toxins.
Now, glutathione, you give it. Now, I've just looked it up. I looked it up. GLUTATHIONE, an antioxidant. Now, you can get injections. I mean, how do you administer it?
The thing is, believe it or not, I actually have a genetic mutation called GSTM1, where I only produce, I have a 60 to 70% depletion in production of glutathione. And I didn't even know about it till just a couple of weeks ago. And so one of the ways that I personally use to boost glutathione is because glutathione is made up by 3 amino acids. Cysteine, glycine, and glutamine. And sometimes we don't get enough of these sulfur type amino acids in our diet. Again, the key here is sulfur. Sulfur is a compound in these amino acids that make it sticky and attracts toxins and heavy metals and helps our bodies get rid of these things, So one of the things that I take is a special type of protein, special type of whey protein that has these amino acids. And then I also take a lot of antioxidants to help support the glutathione. So the glutathione isn't by itself trying to fight all this oxidative stress. So I take a lot of vitamin C, vitamin E, CoQ10, and one of the big ones for to make or to help produce glutathione is alpha lipoic acid. And these are all things that we have in the office. Another thing is called N-acetylcysteine.
Now, let's be clear. You're not just an herbal doctor where you go into the office, not really a doctor, but you don't have a license from the Internet University with incense burning in your office. You're a legit doctor.
Yeah. That's what we call it functional, because we actually test for these deficiencies, and these enzymes and these genetic mutations, and believe it or not, I'm excited because this is something that was not available a long time ago. And now we can, one person could be sick, and somebody tells you, take this, take that, take euthanasia, take garlic, and I got better, and zinc, and then you do it and it doesn't work. It's because your makeup is totally different.
How much of that is when we go to the drugstore and there's no FDA overriding of what you buy over the counter?
Well, I really don't recommend getting supplements, even at GNC or at the regular over the counter, because these type of nutrients or supplements are regulated as food. They're not really regulated as drugs.
They've been tested sometimes and they found to be 90% dirt.
Well, yeah, or actually other components that weren't even in the label, because these companies sometimes use facilities where they make other stuff, and it's not really monitored by the FDA, So we try to use nutraceutical companies that are specifically make multivitamins, and then they're third party tested and they're regulated by the FDA. So, you do get what you pay for on something.
It's legit medicine that I think, everybody it looks down on regulation, but to me, the FDA, and I know it's going to be a long process to get approval, but when it comes to putting stuff in our body that they say is going to make us better, I like that regulation.
Absolutely.
I like the studies being
You
there.
have to.
But this, because coronavirus is in the news, one of the ways to not get sick, or if you get it, to fight it off, may not even know you have it, is you have a strong immune system. Absolutely.
And this would be one of the best ways to supplement your immune system. So in our offices, we have IV infusion too, which would say IV therapy. A lot of people say, you don't need IV therapy, just take vitamins. But the problem with vitamins these days is that most people don't absorb nutrients to their gut like they normally do. So what's good about IV is that those nutrients are readily available. It bypasses GI tract, so it goes straight as nutrients into your cellular cells, So you get quick onset or improvement of, boosting your immune system, helping you with chronic fatigue. So we do a really high vitamin C infusion with glutathione. And right now that's helping a lot of people, especially people that get like Epstein-Barr or mono, or they get the flu and they get that. It's a nice boost. I mean, you still have to take your supplements, but sometimes you don't get everything absorbed through the GI tract, especially if you have leaky gut, like a gut system that's, compromised.
We got to do a podcast because I always want to go longer with you. We have limited time. In fact, Mickey Smith, CEO of Oakland Hospitals, standing by to discuss coronavirus and what they're hearing from the government and so forth. So people can find you at New Age Medical Center. You can just Google that, and you have 2 locations.
Yeah, I have a location on State Road 50 here in Hernando, and then also on State Road 54 in Land O'Lakes.
All right, Dr. David Moreno. My wife keeps asking me every day, when am I going to get to see Dr. David Moreno?
Anytime.
She's dying to see you.
She can just walk in. Don't worry about it. Just tell her she's your wife, and she can come right in.
I'm going to have her call you today. Believe me, she's listening right now. Dr. David, it's always great talking to you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good stuff. See you next time.